Welcome to Inspirational Systemic Insights, where we explore how healing the heart transforms lives and awakens expanded consciousness. Today, we're diving into an important topic. What happens when talents in a family system are disregarded or even disgraced? Never thought about this before in this way, but let's explore this. You see, every person in a family brings something unique to the table, a gift, a talent, or an ability that contributes to the family's growth and harmony. It could be creativity, leadership, empathy, or even a natural aptitude for music or problem solving. These contributions are like threads that weave the fabric of the family system, offering it potential to thrive. And this is a subject very close to my heart. So let's explore this even further. What happens when these talents go unrecognized or worse, are shamed or suppressed? I've seen this a few times in my work as a systemic constellations facilitator. Let me share a quick story. One of my clients, who had an extraordinary talent for art, was passionate about painting, and it was clear to everyone who knew him that this was his gift. He would pick up a pencil and within a few strokes, something magic happened. But in his family, who was a family of academics, pursuing art was an impractical situation. It was just a hobby. His parents pushed him to more sensible careers like in business or engineering, and he did end up with engineering. And he was successful at it. But over time, he altogether, and though he followed his family expectations, you could see the spark in his eyes slowly fading. He was a good engineer, but it didn't give him a passionate expression of himself. And that spark, his creative expression, was a vital part of him, and his suppression left deep wounds. He always felt a little bit of an outsider with his family. And when a talent is regarded or disgraced in a family, it doesn't just disappear. It just leaves emotional scars. The person begins to feel unseen or unworthy, and the family itself suffers because it's missing that vital contribution. Worse still, the neglect of talent often ripples through generations, affecting the growth and potential of future family members. But here's the hopeful part. There is a way to heal these wounds. Through systemic constellation work, we can bring these hidden, disregarded talents back into the light. We can honor them and restore the balance within the family system. And in today's video, we'll explore how disregarding talents affects not just individuals, but entire family systems, and how we can heal these wounds to unlock potential across generations. So let's begin. When talents are disregarded or shamed in a family, it doesn't just affect the person in that moment. It can create unresolved trauma that echoes through generations. This trauma, often unspoken and unseen, becomes a pattern that's repeated, manifested in the lives of future family members who may never fully understand why they feel held back or unfulfilled. Just check in with yourself. Is there something like that? You can feel it as I am speaking. Imagine this. A person in one generation has a gift for creativity. Perhaps they're an artist or a musician, but the family doesn't value that talent. You may say things like, it's not a real career, or you'll never make money doing that. And over time, this individual suppresses their creative energy, pushing down their passion to fit into the family's expectations. But what happens next is fascinating and heartbreaking. In systemic constellation work, we often see that when a talent is regarded, the trauma of that suppression doesn't stop with that individual. It becomes part of the family's energetic field. So in this case, we're not talking about an excluded person. We're talking about excluded ideas and excluded dynamics that have value. So future generations, even those who never knew the original person, may experience a similar suppression of their own talents or feel an unexplained block in pursuing their passions. Let me share a real-world example to illustrate this. There was a woman I worked with in a constellation session who struggled with depression and a constant sense of, I feel stuck. Despite having a strong passion for music, she never pursued it, and she couldn't explain why. During the constellation, we uncovered that her grandmother had been a gifted singer, someone who dreamed of performing on stage, but was forced to abandon that dream because of family pressure to focus on more practical responsibilities. And as we worked through a constellation, it became clear that the unresolved trauma of the grandmother's suppressed talent had passed down to the granddaughter. She inherited not only the love of music, but also the unfulfilled potential and this emotional block that came with it. This is how unresolved trauma around disregarded talents can create generational patterns. The pain of unexpressed gifts gets carried forward, impacting future family members in ways they not even realize. But the good news is that once we recognize these patterns, we can begin to heal them by acknowledging and honoring the unrecognized talents of previous generations. We open the door for healing and for future generations to reclaim their gifts and thrive. And I am a great advocate for this. Very, very early on in my children's life, I really focused on letting them explore their talents and letting them express them. Did they all end up with their talents in their future? They did, in one way or another. So it is really important to allow children to express themselves fully. So in the next part, we look at how these generational patterns create imbalances and dysfunction in the family system and what we can do to restore the harmony. When a person's talents are disregarded in a family system, it doesn't just affect them. It does impact the entire family. You see, every individual brings a unique contribution to the family. And when that contribution is ignored or shamed, it creates an imbalance. And the person whose talents are unrecognized often feel undervalued, leading to emotional disconnection. They withdraw either physically or emotionally because they don't feel seen for who they truly are. This disconnection creates a void in the family. But here's the key. When someone steps out of their role, the system seeks to restore balance, even if it does so in unhealthy ways. Let me repeat that. When someone steps out of their role, the system seeks to restore balance, even if it does so in unhealthy ways. Family members may try to fill that void by overcompensating, taking on roles or responsibilities that don't truly align with their strengths or purpose. For example, one person might try to become the fixer of the family, or another may overextend themselves in ways that are draining. This leads to dysfunction, as people are forced into roles that aren't theirs to carry. And this creates a lot of anxiety. This creates a lot of feeling burdened, feeling I need to do more, and not knowing where this hyper force is coming from. But the good news is systemic constellations can help restore the balance, because in constellation work, we can identify where these imbalances exist by looking at the dynamics of the family system. And by honoring and acknowledging the talents that were disregarded, we create space for healing. The disconnected individual can find their place again, and the family as a whole can return to a state of harmony. This kind of healing isn't just about fixing dysfunction, it's about recognizing the gifts that everyone brings to the family system and allowing these gifts to flourish. And when that happens, the entire family thrives. The same is true for teams in corporates. When team members work in their strengths, it just helps them to be more excited, to be more engaged, and to actually bring the best of themselves to the table. In the next section, we'll explore how ignoring talents can lead to stagnation, not just for individuals, but for the entire family system. I wonder what happens with unlived potential and stagnation. Let's explore. When a family member's talents go unrecognized, the entire family loses a vital source of creative energy. This isn't just a personal loss for the individual, it's a missed opportunity for the family as a whole. Every talent, every passion holds the potential to drive the family forward, whether it's through creative impression, innovative thinking, or personal growth. When these gifts are disregarded, that energy becomes stagnant. What could have been a source of inspiration and progress instead becomes a heavy, unspoken burden. This stagnation leads to a pattern of limitation. The family system gets stuck, unable to evolve or expand. And often we look at people that are sort of non-starters and we judge them. What if it is just stagnated energy? Think of it like a stream that is blocked. Instead of flowing freely, it becomes stagnant, preventing the family from experiencing new opportunities, growth, and vitality. Frustration builds, and family members may feel trapped, repeating the same patterns of limitation over and over and over again. But the beautiful part of systemic work is that we can break through the stagnation. And through systemic constellations, we have the ability to uncover and honor those hidden talents, whether they belong to someone in the present generation or a long past ancestor. And by recognizing these gifts, we restore the creative flow in the family system. The blocked energy is released, and the entire family begins to experience new levels of vitality, growth, and possibility. And breaking stagnation is not just about unlocking an individual potential, it's about revitalizing the whole system. And when we do, the family is no longer limited by the past, but is free to thrive in ways that are deeply fulfilling. In the next part, we look at how disregarded talents can disconnect individuals from their life purpose and how that disconnection impacts not just one person, but the entire system. When an individual's talents are disregarded, they often lose touch with their true life purpose. Our talents are more than just skills. They are a reflection of who we are and what we mean to contribute to the world. But when these gifts go unrecognized or even shamed, individuals may struggle to find meaning or direction. And without that sense of purpose, life can feel empty and we start to question our value. This disconnection from purpose can have serious effects on mental health. When people aren't living in alignment with their gifts, it can lead to feelings of frustration, depression, or even anxiety. They may feel lost, like drifting through life without a clear path forward. Can you maybe recognize yourself in that? There's a deep sense of unfulfillment that can manifest as a constant underlying dissatisfaction. But it's important to recognize that this disconnection doesn't just affect the individual. It has a ripple effect throughout the entire family system. And when one generation feels lost or unfulfilled, that sense of aimlessness is often passed down to future generations. Children and grandchildren may inherit not only the unresolved emotions, but also that sense that their own talents aren't valued or they too lack purpose. Through systemic constellations, we can reconnect individuals with their true purpose by acknowledging and honoring their talents, those that were disregarded in the past and those still hidden. And by doing this, we help not only the individual, but also the entire family system to heal. When purpose is restored, it brings clarity, fulfillment, and a sense of direction that resonates through the generations. In the next segment, we'll explore how we can begin to heal these wounds and restore balance within the family system, honoring every talent and every purpose. We've talked about the deep impact that disregarding talents can have, not just on individuals, but on the entire family system. Now, let's explore how we can heal these wounds. One of the most powerful tools for this healing is systemic constellation. This approach allows us to look at the family as a whole, uncovering hidden dynamics and bringing those disregarded talents back into the light. And by honoring these gifts, we restore balance and open the door to healing. Let me share a story from my own systemic constellations practice. A client came to me where the father had a deep passion for music. but his talent had been completely disregarded by his own parents, who pushed him into a more practical career. Over time, this love for music was buried, and he lived his life disconnected from that part of himself. His children, meanwhile, struggled with creativity, always feeling blocked, as if they couldn't fully express themselves. So, in one of our constellations, we were able to honor the father's passion for music for the first time. We acknowledged the pain of having that gift disregarded, and something amazing happened. As we brought that talent into the open, there was a shift, not just for the father, but for the entire family. And this is the key. My client was one of the children, and he began to feel more confident in his creative pursuits, and even the relationship between him and his father improved. This is the power of systemic constellations. When we acknowledge a disregarded talent, it's not just about healing one individual. There's the ripple effect. The entire family system benefits. The healing goes deep, not only impacting the person whose talent was ignored, but also bringing transformation to the next generation and even those who came before. The energy that was once blocked is released, allowing the family to move forward with new vitality and purpose. And when we bring these hidden gifts into the light, we give permission for every family member to fully express who they are. It's a profound healing that doesn't just touch one life, but it touches many. And it gives future generations the freedom to explore their own talents unburdened by the limitations of the past. So, as you reflect on your own family, think about the talents that may have been disregarded, whether in yourself or in your ancestors. What gifts are waiting to be honored? What potential is waiting to be unlocked? Through systemic constellations, we can heal those wounds and create a family system that's full of life, creativity, and balance. In the final segment, we'll wrap up with a call to action, inviting you to take the next step towards healing and transformation. As we've explored today, disregarded talents don't just affect the individual, it creates emotional wounds, imbalances, and stagnation within the entire family system. These unrecognized gifts leave a lasting imprint that can be passed down through generations, blocking the flow of creative energy and potential. And I now want to invite you to reflect on your family dynamics. What are the talents in your family? Whether they're your own or those of your family members that may have been overlooked or even disregarded. How might this be impacting your family's sense of harmony, balance, and growth? It's important to acknowledge that these buried gifts can still be honored, and there's a way to bring healing to these wounds. Systemic constellations offer a powerful path to uncover and heal these hidden dynamics. By shining a light on disregarded talents and giving them a recognition they deserve, we can restore balance, not just for ourselves, but for our entire family system. And when we heal, we create the space for future generations to thrive in their full potential. Honoring our talents And those in our family members is more than just an individual journey. It's a gift to our families, our ancestors, and the generations to come. Together, we can create a family system where every person's gifts are valued and where healing paves the way to future generations to express their full and beautiful potential. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you feel inspired to explore your own hidden talents and those within your family. I would love it if you join us by subscribing, just clicking a like, and maybe even leaving a comment below. Until next time, let's continue healing hearts, transforming lives, and awakening expanded consciousness. One step, one talent, one family at a time. Have a beautiful day.